Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Monday Motivation. I'm your host, Daniel Krakowski, joined, as always, by Mr. Danger, Goran Vasovic.
What's up, everybody? How's it going, Daniel?
Always good, man. And joining us today, we also have Stas. Stas, what's up, man?
Hey, everyone. Happy to be here.
At Realtor Stas. Yeah, killing the game. Already over at VSM. Did you close deals today, or what are you doing today?
He already had a closing. He had 10, I think, right? This morning before 9 a.m.
Let's not get out of control here.
It is out of control, but in the good way. So, really cool week, really exciting week, I think, for us. I think I had 4 different portfolios show up on my desk of actually viable deals, which is pretty rare. And I know, Goran, you just had another opportunity that we were looking at. All we just need to do is get a casual $17 million together, and we're all set.
Right. And I like the fact that my banker called me at 7 a.m. this morning to talk about that. I'm like, wow, on a Friday, 7 a.m.?
Shout out Andrew Bates.
Shout out Andrew Bates.
Not working banker's hours.
Right. He's just killing the game.
That's commitment.
But what I wanted to talk about today, and I think kind of ties in and has to do with some of these portfolios, is really trusting and building a team around you, which we've definitely addressed in the past, but knowing when someone is ready to move to the next step and putting your trust in them to execute and perform. Because not featured here today is Isaac Keene, intern Isaac.
Shout out Isaac.
AKA.
Where is he, by the way? I texted him. I'm like, listen, man, it's payday. Where are you? I'm getting a little worried.
He's probably at school. I mean, that's a reasonable assumption for a Friday.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like he was here earlier. Maybe it's because it's gloomy. He just wanted to sleep in.
Maybe.
It is the perfect day to sleep in.
Hopefully we didn't tease him too hard yesterday. He was pretty bummed out.
I certainly didn't, so we're good. Anyway, but one of these deals I came across, it's roughly $1 million deal. The guy was asking $1.1 million. And
this is my banker that's calling me. I'm going to take that phone call. You guys keep chatting.
Sounds good. So what we ended up doing is, I have this other deal that I'm underwriting as well that's got a little bit more moving parts. So I handed this over to Isaac to represent me as my agent. And he is actually hitting the phone, dealing with this guy who's been in real estate for over 50 years. And he got him down. There was a little guidance and supervision in it, but currently we're sitting at $750,000. So wow. Pretty good little discount, well negotiated, and my faith in the young man has been rewarded so far. We'll see if it turns into a deal or not, but pretty cool.
All right, I'm back. I told him I'll call him back because Monday motivation is freaking important.
He understands, yeah.
That's right.
No, that's good. I mean, sometimes giving people the rings and letting them roll with it to see what they can do. Otherwise, you'll never know what they're able to accomplish and do.
Absolutely. And I forget what I was listening to specifically, but they were talking about just generally how mentorship tends to work. And you invest time into someone and try and build their skills. And you slowly break them off small tasks just kind of as a test to see how they do with everything. And I mean, I think we've all experienced and had employees, staff members, coworkers, et cetera, who just didn't quite get it, didn't quite try hard enough, and you, from one experience, one interaction, one deal, you learned, okay, I don't necessarily need to be continuing to invest in this person because it's not getting through, it's not producing a result.
Of course.
But you have to be bold, too, with what you're trusting them with, because this is, I think, a little outside of his comfort zone to take on, and probably a little outside of my comfort zone to hand over to him. But he's doing very well with it.
But it'll be good because it'll help him grow, because it'll help him get to that, be better on the smaller deals while working the first, second deal as being a huge deal, right?
Absolutely.
Especially with somebody on the other end that has 50 years of old school real estate experience.
Yeah, no, it's so funny because this older fellow was just beating him up. Where,
well, actually, I think the stories are still on our Instagram. You can still check it out. But I took some stories while we were getting a tour by, I forgot what his name was.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, we don't need to call people out individually.
Old
here.
chap from the UK.
Yeah, lovely fella.
Yes.
But so like this guy was negotiating hard, where he was like, he had a property in the portfolio that he wanted to sell that I did not want, and so Isaac calls him and he's like, hey man, we're interested in the properties. This is about what we're willing to offer. And the guy's like, well, what about this property? What do you pay for that? And Isaac goes, oh, we don't want that. And the guy just immediately hangs up on him.
Really?
Yeah, he hung up on him. Isaac called him back immediately, and the guy just was like, oh, hey, and just acted like it never happened.
Well, maybe it was an honest disconnect.
I don't think so.
But
That's
I'm glad that he rebounded back after he got, smacked in the mouth.
Yeah, I think most people would have given up right there, or at least, taken some time to figure it out.
Right.
But gave this guy an answer that he was willing to hang up on him about, called him back within 10 seconds, and the guy was like, actually, I think that seems like reasonable terms. Let me just ask my partner and see if that works. So instant reward for making that phone call, that second call back.
Right, yeah, because you never know.
Yeah.
Unless you ask, you never know. Sometimes people have bad reactions and emotions that mix in, and you just got to catch them at the right second to get the right answer.
No question. So how about you? Have you ever had any experiences like that where you feel like you overwhelmed a little bit with some responsibility that someone trusted you with, or the other way around, you've given some?
Yeah, I mean, throughout the years, so especially in the car industry, where I come from with my experience over in the past, but that's the type of stuff that would always happen. I mean, no matter how old you were, whether you were 20 or whether you were 60, there's still frustrations. There's still day-to-day stuff that you never want to do. Like the big thing in the car industry was always going outside when it's 30 below to clean all the cars, to clean the snow off of them, right?
Yeah.
So
how about trusting someone with responsibility beyond what they've normally been given?
Yes. So that happens all the time. People that you meet, my thing is you always trust somebody until they give you a reason not to trust them, right?
Right.
So I always put that faith forward, and until I can't trust them, I always trust them with responsibilities, with deals, with whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right? You have that faith in people to tell the truth. So sometimes it comes back to you, but it's all lessons. It's never a waste of time. It's all you learn and you grow and you move on. Right?
Yeah. How about you, Goran? I know you do it all the time.
Right. No, I think it's important in being a business owner. It's an absolute necessity for you to be able to trust others, especially if you have employees and other people you depend on. Because obviously, I don't run everything by myself, and for the majority of Ryan and myself and Dario starting these businesses in the beginning, we always did everything ourselves because of the trust issue. But funny thing happened after we let go of that type of thought process. Our business grew exponentially. So that was kind of an eye-opener. We just got to get the right talent, the right people, and then, you'd be surprised what happens as long as you have that trust. But it's very hard to let go because first thing that happens, you let go, a mistake happens, you're like, oh, I'm never doing that again. And then you're just like stuck in that way for the next decade until something else gives you the strength to try to repeat it and hopefully you get a better result. But I think we're all pretty good about when we bring others on board, we're like, hey, it's okay to make mistakes. We know you're going to make mistakes. Everybody does. It does not matter. Like, don't let that hinder you from, being great and doing great things. Just focus on improving every single day.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a part of our daily life. And I want to delegate and empower others to do what they need to do. And me saying, hey, I trust you to take care of it, I think empowers them and also empowers me and helps the organization grow.
Yeah, I definitely feel like what I wanted to do with Isaac was something similar to what you guys did with me, where, pretty early, I think, I was licensed for maybe 3 months when I helped you guys buy your first property. Mm-hmm. I was not overseen during that process. It was pretty much just, do it, figure it out. I think we got a good deal, negotiated a couple, like $20,000 off the purchase price on that one.
Yep.
And then ever since then, more and more opportunities.
I forget which property it was.
It was the one you bought for, I think, $110. They had it listed at like $135 or something like that. Put like $45 into it, and now it's worth like $280.
What address?
I remember.
I feel like I should know all these, but I don't.
maybe in the liner notes we'll put it in there. But.
Well, no, I think that was kind of the big deal and even with Isaac now, I'm like, hey man, just go ahead and mess up, do what I want to see what you come up with without my interference, because I'll add my 2 cents at the end, no matter what. But if first you may come up with something great that I didn't really think of, where you wouldn't have come up with that if I interjected right away before you put your special, touches on it.
Yeah.
So
and sometimes the less you micromanage, the more creative the other person gets to do stuff. Maybe you get a new perspective of it. You've never thought about doing it that way because you've always done it a different way. And their creativity comes out and they do it much better, more efficient. Or
I believe that 100%, and that across like everything from you being part of the brokering transactions and taking the lead on how you want certain things to happen. We're like, yep, do it that way. To Irina, to the guys up front in operations. That's as soon as we said, hey, make this your own, take charge. People just naturally do better than I think they expect that they can do. And it produces just really, really good results.
And it allows them to work in the capacity that best suits their personality. Like if you're trying to impose the way that you think about problems on someone else, a lot of times they're not going to come up with the solution that you're looking for because they're not putting the same input in.
Right.
They just view things differently.
Right. And you'd be surprised that so many people that I guess, they're here, that came from other places, they just don't have that freedom of, they've never been encouraged to really just kind of like, hey, do what you think is best because we trusted you enough to hire you and we want you to, make this role better, not push the same things that have been happening for years.
Yeah, but do you think we're taught that as young children going through school to where you have to line up in single file lines and ask permission to go to the restroom and everything else? I mean, it's the way that society kind of forms us in the beginning, and we have to break out of it once we're done with that structure.
For sure, yeah. I think that's just like breaking bad habits. It's hard to break any habit, and there's a lot of bad habits that we carry from us being kids to our parents teaching us the way they were taught, and et cetera. So to break that cycle, it takes a lot, but it can be done. And I think we talked about this in the podcast at one point, Daniel, that I do things that are, if it's hard, difficult, and it's not normal how things have done, I always choose that route because I know that's when it's going to be something special or great.
Take the path less traveled, make your own path.
Right. So it's that's kind of like, that's my switch. Here's one, the way it's always been done, or try something new. And I'm like, screw it, I'll just try something new.
Yeah, the Frost approach.
Stopping
in the woods on a snowy day.
Makes the journey a lot more interesting, too. And you learn a lot more doing things yourself, maybe following a guideline, but also taking the route that doesn't have any tracks, that where you're creating the tracks and you're doing stuff, and lets you get more creative as well.
The best part, too, though, is once you're in that position where you have people with different skill sets that you trust to complete the job, but they have different approaches, is it allows you to tailor make your approach to each problem that comes up. For example, like, you can, in a negotiation, you can be like that shark type approach where everything's just, this is the way it's got to be. I have leverage right now. This is, and just you're hammering the other side. Or you can just be friends with everybody, and different strategies are going to work on different people. The goal always is to be in a position where you have those tools yourself and the ability to recognize when each one is appropriate. But at the same time, you also have a roster of players that you can call in who've done a good job in the past performing for you that you can now get in. But you're never going to get there. You're never going to have that roster unless you hold some tryouts. And that's, giving opportunities to other people.
Absolutely. And and day-to-day retail real estate, or even working with investors, stuff goes a lot smoother, even in intense negotiations over inspection items, if you're friendly with the other side and if they're friendly to you, right? Because everyone understands you can explain stuff. There's no emotions. There's no anything else. But sometimes you get somebody on the other end that's emotionally involved and just overly, ready to jump out of whatever on any single item, and it just makes things tough.
Yeah, I have a friend. It's so fun to hang around him because he just approaches life so differently than anybody else. I may have alluded to him in the past, but his job in high school, when he was like 14 to I think 16, trying to save up money to buy a car, what his dad made him do, because his dad was a sales guy, is he would make him buy cars on the under $600 section, which used to exist in the newspaper here.
Yep.
That's right.
And he couldn't fix anything on them. He would just have to buy them and then resell them for more to someone else. So it was his ability to practice negotiating a price down and then negotiating a higher price at some later date. And, you know, that's when you're doing that at a young age, that creates some very interesting neural pathways. I've seen him pull off some amazing stuff. We went, just really quick story.
Yeah.
We go to a Twins game and we're like, we want to go. We don't have tickets yet. And he goes up to like someone who's outside hawking tickets, and it's an approach that I never would have thought of. And he just goes, "How much are the tickets?" And the guy starts to say like $60 or whatever it is. And before he even finishes the word, he just goes, "Holy shit!" and just like yelled it, like, and just held eye contact with this person. And the guy had no idea how to react. And he ended up getting them for half of what the guy wanted. Like, that was his opening. He just put the guy so far out of his comfort zone that he just was like, okay.
You jolt somebody.
And that was the tool that he elected to use for this particular negotiation.
Right. And I like, what his dad did as far as buying a car at X and then selling it to see if he can make a profit. I think what kids are doing now, and I think what Gary Vee is encouraging a lot of people, and I think there's an article as well on it where a guy basically just every day he goes to Walmart and buys items that are whatever he thinks are a good value and goes to Amazon and flips them for a profit. And
that's the guy that made like 7 figures a year doing this, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. So he has a multi-million-dollar business just basically kind of, it's the same type of method as the car that you're talking about.
Arbitrage.
Right.
Adding just, no value to the economy, really. But
right. Yeah. He's just buying something for X and then, trying to sell it for more. And, that's a skill that he's acquired that everyone actually has access to. I mean, you can go to Walmart and you can sell stuff on Amazon or eBay or whatever.
Your own items. That's a big thing right now. Is
Grant
Cardone's big on it
Absolutely.
too. Everyone. So, yeah, just the more practice you get, the better off you're going to be.
For sure. I think before we sign off, I was going to see if you can recall the phone call that we had the other day from a listener of our podcast.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to...
you want to tell yeah.
We didn't get his name, but big shout out to our listener out in Michigan who called in and said that he's a truck driver out there and wanted to, get and started investing in real estate based on the podcast. So appreciate the listen and everybody else. We love interacting with you as much as we can. Right.
And I think he just called just to say, it was like, hey, thanks guys for putting that. He just called, our front desk or whatnot just to say that. And I think Aaron talked to him for about 30 minutes. And that's when he relayed that info. I was like, hey, that's awesome. This is the exact kind of effect that I wanted to achieve and we wanted to achieve when we started to do this. And I think we actually kind of skipped over it last time because I think it was our 52nd Monday Motivation last week, which would mean that we had a full year.
There it is.
Wow. Monday Motivations without skipping a beat.
Not a beat.
Right. And this is not even our primary business where we, quote unquote, make money.
No.
And we were able to commit to something that takes us, 15 to 20 minutes one day a week.
Yeah.
For 12 months. And let's see if we can do it for 2 years, 3, 4, 10.
All right, 2018, we're coming for you. Monday Motivation's
the commitment's
coming.
There now.
Monday Motivation's coming, and Stas, you're coming out with
Friday Inspiration.
We got the motivation. We got first you got the inspiration for the Friday for the weekend, and then Monday we hold you to it to execute that inspiration that you developed over the weekend and on Friday.
Absolutely. Well, stay tuned, everyone. Lots more to come, and thanks so much for listening.